New York is the city that never sleeps, and neither does Sal Licata. From Flushing in the Bronx to the Meadowlands in MSG, Sal sounds off on the biggest sports news of the day. Welcome to WFAN Daily with Sal Licata.
Hi, it's me, Sal Licata here. A special edition of WFAN Daily today as we recap our season over-under total. And to do so, I welcome back Jack and Harrison Francesa, who did the over-unders with me throughout the course of the year. We kind of knew, hi boys, we kind of knew what was going to happen midway through as we did this checkup halfway into the season here. But today we could finalize it and put it to bed. And look ahead, I want to get your thoughts on Wild Card Weekend. You're right, Harrison. You should be shaking your head because it was a shameful one from you in particular. Yeah, it was bad. Now, before we get to that, though, last that we spoke was when you guys came in studio on the fan, had some fun hanging out during the holidays. Jack, let's start with you. Your thoughts on that experience and feedback that you may have gotten, whether it be social media, your father, whatever. What was the reaction to your appearance on the fan?
I was told I did pretty well, which I was happy with. I was nervous because I've never really done something like that before, but I got comfortable pretty quickly. And I overall just liked the experience a lot. Just being able to chop it up on the radio was pretty cool.
Harrison, what about you? What was the reaction? I know you're a Barstool guy and you get the reaction there, but being on the fan, the number one thing I heard about you was everybody's like, oh, Harrison's got the voice of his father. Sounds like your father on the air. What was your reaction based off of that appearance?
Yeah, I got that a few years ago too when I started my my podcast thing that I used to do a little bit. So I got that. I started that, but the reaction I got, I mean, online was obviously good. I posted a few things, and the reaction was all good. But coming from like people I knew was also like pretty nice. That they were all like, "You did pretty well." I was happy with it.
All right, good. Well, it was fun to have you guys in. Maybe we do it again next year. Who knows? Hey, maybe you do it on your own. I don't know how I get you out of it. You got the opportunity. You did what you did on the air, and I think it was fun. It was well received. I know some people were ripping me apart, but a lot of people did like the idea.
They like that picture of us.
Yeah, there you go. It was fun. It was right. Of course, I look like the short one again. With I didn't even know you guys were that tall. Jack,
I'm not tall.
Yeah, how could Jack? I know a football player. Harrison, you look like you were towering over me in that picture.
That was just a bad angle because I am not tall.
Thank you for clarifying that because based on social media, people think I'm 4'7". I'm 5'10", in fact. All right. So where do you want to start here? Jack, you and Harrison both went 1-4. And Jack, you shouldn't have been that bad.
Yeah,
but your Falcons did you dirty.
I had good visions. I mean, I took the Steelers under 8.5. They finished with 10 wins. They finished the season 2-5. So I mean, had a good vision there. Just really rough start to the season for my under. And then the Colts, they did terrible at the end of the season too. And then so did the Cardinals is what pissed me off. They beat the Niners twice in the season. Like I would have never expected that. And that was the difference. They had 8 wins. So the Colts lost to the Giants, sold the over. So
you had Lions over 10.5, which was a great win, great pick. You had the Steelers, as you mentioned, under 8.5. I didn't love that at the beginning. I see why you're saying it. Like the right thought process, they weren't going to be that good, but still Tom on the Steelers. Cardinals under 6.5. They miraculously beat the Niners in a down year a couple of times. Colts folded at the end of the year, losing to the Giants. Yeah. And then the other one was your Falcons.
Yeah.
You love the Falcons over 9.5. And obviously at the end of the year, they coughed it up.
If Raheem Morris maybe tries to go for 2 instead of going to overtime, like Michael Penix went 1-2 as a starter, and both losses were in overtime where he didn't even get the ball. Maybe if you go for 2 on both those tries, take their gamble right there, and you got 10. We're 10-7, and we're in the playoffs instead of the Bucs.
Outside looking in. Harrison, you did not fare much better. No. And with you also being 1-4. See, at least Jack said he had the right. What would you say, Jack? You had the right process, or you?
I had the right visions. I mean,
your vision. There you go. Had the right vision.
I got beat pretty badly on 2 of them. 2 of them.
Where is your vision? You may need Harrison. You may need to go back to the drawing board with your vision here for these over-unders. Explain yourself.
All right, wait. So in the beginning, I wanted to pick. I was just picking based off of teams that I thought weren't good last year, who I thought maybe could turn some things around.
And and you decided on the Patriots.
No. I'm talking about the Bears and the Titans for that one. The
Okay.
Patriots pick was, I needed I lost by half a win. So, that was just, I thought they were going to be able to squeeze more wins than they did.
That's a fair point, Harrison, that the Patriots, because of that last win of the year in Buffalo that nobody would expect,
Exactly.
Obviously Buffalo wasn't playing for much. You got within one win, which is hard to believe, especially the way that they started. They won opening week, right? They beat Cincinnati. You should have probably gotten one more there. But I still didn't understand the thought process of that pick.
That was just, I honestly thought Drake May was going to start way earlier than he did. I thought he was going to be the starter by week 5. He wasn't.
All right.
Well, the plan is not at all.
And he obviously showed promise when he came in, but I thought that it was going to be his team most of the year, that they were going to be able to squeeze 5 wins out.
Give me your thought process to the Titans over 6.
That was a bad one.
What did you believe in, Will Levis or something?
As soon as I saw Will Levis throwing the ball to nobody, and just throwing those interceptions, I knew that pick was done for. I thought that they picked up some guys like L'Jarius Sneed went from one of the best corners in the league to the literal worst corner in the NFL. So stuff like that, just the team collapsed.
What about Chargers? Because that was another one. I went head to head with you. I had the Chargers over. Because of Harbaugh and just believing in him. Why didn't you like the Chargers over? You went.
Well, obviously the division is very hard to play in. I thought that I didn't think they were going to beat the Broncos or the Chiefs, and also I just didn't think they were going to get 10 wins. I thought they were going to get 8 or 9. I just didn't think they had 10 in them. They did.
Well, it was 8.5, and I'm with you. Like, I thought that they would be right around it. What'd they end up with? Did they end up with
11?
11.
Oh, they had 11. Okay, yeah.
They just had a better season than I thought they would. I thought that they were going to lose to just some of the bigger games that they won.
Those 3 for me, I didn't understand when you did it at the time. The other 2, Bucks was a great pick. Bucks over 7.5. You have to be happy with that one. Obviously, They played great postseason team.
Not.
Well, obviously, we both hate the Bucks here. We'll get into the postseason in a little bit, but Bucks over 7.5. And the other one, I understand the logic with the Bears getting sucked in. Hard Knocks, Caleb Williams, everybody loving the Bears. If I were you, I would probably double down on that next year. The number's going to be lower.
I need to see
some offensive line signings.
I need to see who they bring in for everything.
You would assume though it's going to be a better coach.
We need to see though, because they have nobody now.
They haven't hit on a coach since '85.
What would you know about 85? Both
Nothing.
of you. Okay, so from the first year of doing these over-unders here, what did you learn? Jack, what was did you learn anything as far as a change of philosophy or vision that you would do differently based on the way that the results went?
I learned that the most important thing is to not necessarily go look at the strength of schedules and stuff. Look at more about in-house operations and how good are the coaches, what players have the opportunity to do good in certain aspects. I decided most of my picks on the strength of schedules, and I feel like you can't really determine that preseason because not every team is going to turn out the way they're supposed to throughout the season, especially a team like the Cardinals and the Steelers.
Right.
So
Harrison, what about you? I think it's a great answer. What about you, Harrison? Did you learn anything from your thought process going in?
I think betting on up and coming teams is just a very risky thing to do. The only pick that worked out for me was the Bucks, who are the opposite of an up and coming team. They were there in the playoffs last year. So I think that me picking teams that I thought were going to go from nothing to maybe hitting a playoff run, it's not the safest thing to do.
Right. And then just to tack on my philosophy, and obviously I have years of experience doing this, whether it's listening to your father or doing these with your father just for years being in it. And by the way, it doesn't matter. I only went 3-2. But the thought was if you ask me, well, why'd you take the Commanders? The thought was a stable coach, even though I don't love Dan Quinn, a rookie quarterback with promise, an offensive coordinator in Kingsbury, different weapons. 6.5 was a low number. As if I thought about the division and Dallas and the Eagles going in, maybe I wouldn't have went that way, but I didn't let that factor in. I just went with those things and it paid off. Similar to Denver, where Denver in that loaded division with Harbaugh being in there and the Chiefs, as you mentioned, but their number was so low, 5.5, even with the rookie quarterback, just believing in that defense and Sean Payton. And that obviously paid dividends. Those were my two best. Chargers, we went over 8.5. Again, coach, Harbaugh coming in. They had talent there. Even in a tough division, they'd win. Miami actually wasn't awful. What'd they finish with, Miami? 8 wins? Okay, they finished with. So if Tua stayed healthy, they probably would have gotten to 10. But what I learned from that one is I'm not trusting the Dolphins and a team in soft weather that obviously the fragile health of the quarterback would need to remain there. If
They
he's
haven't been a good team in 3 years.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good point. I thought Miami would be the team in the division to beat. I was wrong about that. Obviously, Buffalo, the premier team. And then I did the worst pick that I made was the Eagles under 10.5. It was a high number. I don't like Sirianni. And I thought the loss of Kelsey was going to be more impactful. Turns out their offensive line, they replaced him with a stud.
Yeah, still insane.
Yeah, so the
I liked your pick there too, especially the way they collapsed at the end of last season. I just thought that it was going to be a complete rebuild year, that they were going to be terrible, and turns out we were wrong. I mean,
their secondary is much better than it was last year too.
Yeah, their secondary and their defense was such a question mark for me, but I guess they proved us wrong, especially with Saquon. Saquon just amazing this year.
Behind that offensive line. All right, so that'll lead us into wild card weekend here. First of all, what are the plans? Are you guys both, you're home together now, right, from school?
Yeah.
So, okay. Are you watching the games together? What are we looking at? What are we looking at? Because this, to me, the two best weekends in all of sports, wild card weekend, divisional round. What are we looking at for you guys?
Depends if he feels like watching the games, but I'll be watching with my dad probably.
Harrison, what do you mean if you feel like watching the games? You got bigger plans? Going on a date? What are we doing here?
I'm watching.
Okay. All right, so the three of you, you'll be watching together with your father. All right, let's go through the games in order here. First game Saturday afternoon, tomorrow afternoon, 4:30, Chargers, Texans. Jack, since you're the oldest, we'll start with you, and then Harrison, just take it from there. How do you see this game?
I think that the Chargers are going to win this game. What's the line, 3?
3. I get the line 3. Chargers -3 on the road in Houston.
Yeah, I think that the Texans are just a disaster. They've kind of fell apart at the end of the season, and I think that the Chargers are trending upwards and the Texans are going down. I feel like any team that didn't win their division, they wanted to play the Texans. Steelers didn't get the opportunity to do it. I think the Chargers will beat them easy. I think they'll beat them by probably 10, 12.
Harrison, good.
Yeah, I'm on the same road there. The Texans are just a hurt team. They're trending downwards. They haven't really shown out in the past couple of weeks, and the Chargers obviously are playing good football, and they have a much more. I'd say they just have a better coaching staff, and they have a lot more weapons because of how hurt the Texans are. So I'm taking Chargers -3 as well.
Initially, and you know how much I love Harbaugh. That's why I picked him in the over-unders. Initially, I was thinking Chargers. I'm just having a weird feeling now. Plus, I know Harbaugh's not a first-time head coach, but his first year there, maybe the inexperience with the rest of the Chargers roster in the postseason. On the road, I'm going to probably take the Texans plus the points in this game. I want to root for the Chargers, so I won't bet it, but I'm starting to lean toward the Texans. All right, Harrison, we'll start with you on this one. Ravens, Steelers, Saturday night. Ravens right now -9.5 at home over the Steelers.
I'll take Steelers plus 9.5, but I do not think they're going to win. I just don't see. I don't like Lamar in the playoffs. I don't like that team in the playoffs. So I think they're going to beat the Steelers, but I don't think that this is going to be a massacre type of game. I think Tomlin's going to have it together. I think this game will be within 10 points by the end of the game. I think they'll probably win by a touchdown, but I don't think this is going to be one of those Lamar games where he beats you by 30.
Okay. Jack?
Yeah, I don't think that it's going to be a blowout either. I think it'll be a low-scoring, close game. It's going to be 31 degrees. It's going to be cold. Baltimore is very cold in the winter now. So I think that both teams have a good running game. I think that'll be the factor. I think Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson's running will be the deciding factor in this game. I don't like Russell Wilson at all. He's been terrible. Like I said, the Steelers finished the season 2-5. They have no momentum. Like, they're hopeless. They probably feel hopeless right now. They're playing this team for the third time. They haven't beat them once, right?
Right. I don't believe so. They got smacked the last time they played them, and I think
they killed them. And I think it'll be closer than it. Maybe they'll win by 10. The spread's 9.5. I think they might win by exactly 10. I don't know, but I just don't have any hope for the Steelers offense. So maybe if the defense can show up and completely shut them down, but they haven't proved to do so this season. So I think the Ravens are going to.
They actually did. I'm just looking this up real quick. Week 11, they did lose to Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh 18-16. and then obviously came back and beat them in week 16, crushed them 34-17. So they did split the season series. And that's always a hard fought game. I'm torn on this one because I love Lamar. And I think, and I've said this before, I think he's the best football player that I've ever seen. Not best quarterback, just put the pads on. Like, that dude is the best athlete I've ever seen. And at some point, he's got to break through in the postseason. And I think they're going to win the game. But I can't bet against Tomlin and that defense, and maybe using Justin Fields as a secret weapon as well in certain situations in the red zone, even to run the football a little bit more.
They haven't shown that one time this season. They haven't, ever since they benched him, they haven't put him in. And also, that going back to that game, they beat the Ravens. They didn't score a touchdown. That's the second time and they didn't score a touchdown and they won.
That's right, taking all those field goals. Now I remember that game a little bit. Yeah. I don't feel strongly about either of those games on Saturday, but I probably lean toward taking the points, and I'm sure I'd be disappointed when of course, the Ravens blow them out. All right, Sunday. This game I do love. I love the Bills. Right now I see the line at -9. It was 8.5 earlier. And you know me with Denver coming in, I thought Denver would be good. I think their magic runs out. Rookie quarterback on the road in the postseason in that environment in Buffalo, I think that's asking for trouble. Jack, how do you read the Bills and Broncos?
I think the Bills are going to win. I don't know by how much, but the Broncos always tend to keep the quarterback within the pocket. I don't know if they'll be able to do that with Josh Allen. And if they can do that, it'll be a much closer game than people think. But I think the Bills will edge them out here because I think they're just the better team. But if they can't contain Josh Allen, it's going to be a really, really, really rough day for that Broncos team. Because the Bills defense is good too. So I think they'll be able to shut down Bo Nix and that offense too, because they have no run game to begin with. Their offensive line is very good, but I don't think they'll be a good match for Buffalo.
I like the Bills -9 here as well, but I'm thinking more of a different way. I think the Denver defense is going to be fine. They are probably a top 3 defense in the league. I think that their secondary will hold up. I think that they can, I wouldn't say contain Josh Allen because no one's really doing that, but I think they'll survive. I just don't think Bo Nix is going to be able to play in that kind of environment. Buffalo is probably the worst place to play in the playoffs, and Bo Nix has shown weakness throughout the past couple of weeks. He's been throwing more picks than he was all season. He hasn't been throwing as many touchdowns. He's not even looking to in the stretch of the game. He hasn't even been looking to other receivers besides Cortland Sutton. So he just hasn't looked good the past couple of weeks. It looks like the pressure is finally getting to him, and I don't think he's going to perform well.
Yeah, I mean, Knicks played well the last game out, but again, against your Chiefs.
Mims has 4 touchdowns in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
No, I'm not counting that game.
Right. If you're not counting that game where Knicks was near perfect in the game, whatever it was. Chiefs
I'm not counting that.
Still, he's had a good year. I'm with you, though. I just think rookie quarterback on the road in the postseason, especially against Josh Allen in Buffalo, that's probably my best bet of the weekend would be the Bills -9. All right, Harrison, we'll stick with you here. And then, Jack, you just pick it up from him. Eagles-Packers, a game that probably many are saying that should be the best game of the weekend or the most intriguing matchup. Philadelphia at home laying 5 to the Packers.
Yeah, I'm picking the Packers points, but I think Eagles going to take the game. I like both these teams. I think they both have a great run game. Jacobs, he just finds the end zone, and obviously Barkley's playing one of the best seasons of football you'll ever see. But I don't think the Eagles have enough to beat them by a substantial margin. I think this is a game that gets decided by a field goal. This gets decided by by a last-minute play. So I like the Packers points here, but I do think the Eagles at home will take it.
Okay, Jack.
I think I disagree here. I think the Packers are going to win.